Hey everybody. Um, I got the webcam back because my grandpa passed away yesterday. Yeah. So this is kind of going to be a short video because I got stuff to do. Well, not really. I don't really have anything to do. Like, for once in my life, the house is mine alone. I mean, I used to live here with Grandpa, but he's gone now, so I kind of live here alone now. Don't have to watch him as much anymore. Just, I felt kind of melancholy, but I'll still record this video for you. I gotta record more Total War. You know, get the ball rolling. You know, make sure I have lots of videos keep coming out and keep it going. But at the same time, I feel kind of apathetic because he just died yesterday, barely an hour after I woke up. I woke up at 1:50 p.m. He was gone by 2 o'clock. Barely 10 minutes after I woke up, he was gone. It happens. Like I've already accepted. Like I accepted this was going to happen long before it happened. So it hasn't really hit me hard or anything because I already got it out of my system. I'm just filled with the remaining sense of apathy. So I don't know. I kind of want to just go brood. So I'm going to make this a short one so I can just do my own thing for a bit. Try to get worked up again. Maybe I'll record a second video tonight. Maybe I'll record the next to follow Equestria tomorrow. I don't know. I'm off tonight and tomorrow, so yeah.
Somebody said as we flew over a large open area dominated on one end by a fountain with a statue in the form of Princess Celestia. Water pressure from the raging aqueduct was causing the fountain to blast streams of water from Celestia's eyes, wingtips, and horn, like they were pressurized hoses. I had my EFS up, but the only lights on my compass were my friends and the occasional pulse of red. I could never get a fix on the enemy, or enemies, that my EFS was picking up before they vanished again. It was making me nervous.
I think that was an old soda.
There are not many structures left to hold them in, Zenith said, the sight of the ruined zebra town having no apparent effect on her. I don't believe the Alicorns would choose one of the smaller shops as a base, Steelhooves noted. It doesn't fit their sense of ego. Well, that narrowed down the search areas considerably. On the other hoof, they could be using the Zebra Town sewers. And that just widened it a lot. Sewers? I moaned. That would explain why the town ain't even more flooded than this, Calamity appraised. I'm guessing they built them to handle spring flooding. Amongst other things. My compass flared red again as we swept over the broken rooftops of a row of zebra insulae and flew out over what had once been the Zebra Town amphitheater, and was now a large inner-city lake. Crumbling walls of columns and archways ringed the old amphitheater. Each column that still remained intact was crowned with stone-carved masks of alien and almost unwelcoming designs. I cringed at the thought of attending a performance with those wicked-looking faces staring down at me from every column of the theater. Standing in one rain-shrouded archway was the near-black form of an alicorn. She saw us almost at the same moment we spotted her. Then she vanished with a flash. Fuck. It was one of the teleporting ones.
Yeah, they're fucked.
Expect company, Steelhooves warned. We had to get out of the sky. We were too easy a target. Calamity flew towards the largest intact structure, dropping me onto the cracked rooftop before setting him down himself. Firelight darted out from under the stone bridge just before it slammed into the rooftop, spilling Steelhooves and Zenith. The Applejack's Ranger landed in a graceless thud, while the zebra somersaulted gymnastically, ending on all four hooves and turning to stare at the grumbling ghoul with a raised eyebrow and the slightest hint of a smirk. My fault, I called out as Steelhooves pushed himself back up. A loud groan rumbled through the roof underneath my hooves. I knew immediately that it was about to collapse. It had been on the verge of crumbling for decades, and our landing was the final insult. Looking up at my companions, I whispered, I hate ceilings. Ceilings, roofs, floors. Anything that could tumble out from underneath me. In all the fucking wasteland, they were my greatest enemy. I started to focus, intent on levitating myself and
So
my
I'm not
companions,
bored, I'm just,
and possibly laughing victoriously. The roof caved in, sending plumes of pink gas up towards us. My vision blurred, my head throbbed, and my lungs fought for proper air. My spell imploded, and I fell into the pink.
Lil Pip already has a mutation, where the more radiates she gets, her healing factor kicks in. She really the best fucking ability around. So I wonder, would that affect the pink? Since the pink is magical radiation, would it just kick in her healing factor already? Would it mutate it even more? Who knows?
My body hit the floor in a chamber of thick pink gas. The pink cloud had been seeping through the cracks in the ceiling and collected here. The medical assist spell in my pip buck started flashing warnings around my EFS as my internal organs began to suffer. My heart felt strained. My lungs struggled to take in enough air. I could feel something terribly unpleasant in my bowels. There will be pockets where the pink cloud has settled and pooled, Steelhooves had warned us. Avoid them if you can. Dash through them with all haste if you cannot. While still in the fraction of the potency of the original cloud, such pockets will kill you in seconds. I pulled up my Pip-Buck's automap, checking my orientation towards the nearest door. "This way!" I tried to shout, my voice fighting for volume. "Follow me!" I charged for the door, praying the room beyond was safe. If it was not, I would likely be dead before I could find another. I hit the door, throwing it open. To my dismay, the hall beyond was curtained with the same cloying pink. Half of the doors along the way were open, offering no salvation. The pink cloud would kill me before I reached the end of the hall. Galloping to the first closed door, I screamed wretchedly as I found it locked. I was in no condition to pick a lock at the moment. I hurled myself at the next, my heart feeling like it was about to explode. My lungs were burning. My vision was getting dark. The door opened. I tore into the next room, praising Celeste as the pink cleared, only to thud against a stone railing. My EFS was still flashing warnings, and the compass was all manner of red. I needed a health potion to reverse the damage the pink cloud had done, and fast, before my organs started to fail. With severe alarm, I realized that Velvet Remedy still had all of our medical supplies. My vision was dark, but clearing. Calamity shot past me, hovering in the air just beyond the railing. As Steelhooves and Zenith galloped to the doorway behind me, I heard a crunching sound from beneath. Looking around, I realized we were on a semicircular stone balcony overlooking a cavernous tiled room filled with water. Much of the water was shallow enough to wade through, but there were sunken pockets where I knew it was very deep. Streams of pink swam like ribbons through all the room. The room below us had several small tiers, the steps between becoming waterfalls, and hosted many balconies and exits. A dozen zebras looked up at our appearance with hostile expressions and dead eyes. "Lovely choice," Zenith intoned, sounding terribly weak. "If we wish to avoid the poisoned water, what better place than a bathhouse?" The balcony shifted under our hooves. "Oh, not again," I groaned, throwing my spell around myself and my companions as the tiled floor beneath us canted dangerously. The semicircle of stone tore from the wall, smashing down into the tiled floor below, shattering a hole in it. The four of us hovered over the bathhouse interior, surrounded by magic. "Aha!" I yelled down at the ruins of the balcony,
Aren't you
ignoring the
dying?
odd looks I was getting from Calamity. "I win!" In response, a host of voices whinnied strangely from below. Several of the dead-looking zebras galloped towards the exits in the room beneath us. Water had begun to gurgle down into the hole created by the fallen balcony. The air filled with explosions as Steelhooves...
Is Little Pip hallucinating because of how close she is to death? Is she gaining a new mutation? That's something like Fallout stories like this never deal with enough. Like, the mutations from the radiation. Like, come on, I want to see more. I want them to stay, like, useful. I kind of want to see more.
Opened fire with his grenade machine gun, the grenades tearing the bodies of the zombie zebras apart. The room was filled with blasted water and flying chunks of tile and concrete. At least 3 of the dead zebras had made to an exit, but most died in the onslaught. Zenith cried out as one of the escapees came charging up in the pink hallway and leapt out with a still open door behind us, waves of pink mist curling out after it as it soared through the air and impacted with Steelhooves, knocking them both out of my levitation field. the zombie zebra and the ghoul plunged into one of the pools below with a splash. Well, he could use
He'll be fine. It has fucking air filters and shit.
a bath, Zenith commented as we floated above the pool, watching the dark figures as the two hoof fought under the water, neither of them being able to drown. Y'all figure he needs any help? Calamity asked. We both shook our heads. Where's Firelight?
I didn't realize they were ghouls. I thought she was having a weird hallucination.
Asked, suddenly realizing we were down a party member. Calamity scowled, blushing a little. Still flying around outside, I reckon. Bird's smart enough not to fall through a roof when she has wings. For Calamity's sake, I tried not to smirk. The floor around the pools was slowly draining. Casting about, I spotted a row of yellow medical boxes. Salvation. Assuming there were any health potions to be found inside. Telekinetically pulling myself away from the others, I flew up to the medical boxes. The first was unlocked, yet still full of medical supplies. Zebratown had not suffered the looting that had emptied nearly every other unlocked box in the wasteland. If this is what Zebratown was like, how about Canterlot? I suddenly understood Sealhoof's concerns about distractions.
Yeah.
My head was still throbbing. My breathing was painful, fast and shallow. My gut twisting inside me as something seemed to shift, burning in my bowels. I didn't need a medical assist spell to know I was on the verge of something inside me failing. And I was the first one out of the cloud. My friends had to be worse. I floated the healing potions I found inside up to Calamity and Zenith, planning to use the first one I found in the next box myself. The next was locked. My vision slowly darkened further as I focused on the lock. A new red light sprung up on my EFS compass. Turning, I saw a zombie zebra push through a doorway, its seemingly lifeless eyes fixing on me, flaring with unholy light. I whipped out my zebra rifle, sending 3 bullets straight into its head. I could see the flare of orange flame as the corpse's brain burned. The zebra thing stumbled and went down like a sack of flour. Turning back to the medical box, I finally got it open. Celestia licked me like she loves me. There were super restoration potions inside of it. I downed one quickly before my vision could fade entirely, and I lost the ability to focus anymore. At once, my vision started to clear. My breathing became easier. My heart started to beat more strongly in my breast. My ears filled...
Also, why does Velvet Remedy have... well, okay, yeah, she's with the fucking zebras, but, like, you could take some potions with you.
With an unnatural grating sound. I turned just as the dead zebra was lifting back to its hooves in a swirl of unholy energy. But I shot it in the head. With fire. The Canterlot zebra proved just how much it didn't care as it struck out at me with a hoof. The impact bruised through my armor, sending my weightless body flying backwards. My head struck one of the medical boxes, exploding in pain and stars as I collapsed into the water. I could hear Zenith splash down as my magic imploded. I felt a sticky warmth in my mane, the medical assist flashing warnings of head trauma. Between my previous concussion and the weakening from the cloud, I feared I may have suffered permanent damage. The fear washed away as I passed out. From the Journal of Midnight Shower. Bearing in mind the extreme security on this terminal and the sensitive nature of the charts and documents already stored within, I have decided that it should be safe to record the particulars of my assignment and the discussion which led to my being thrust into this cultural wasteland. And by that, of course, I mean any place that is not Canterlot. I wish to do so now, while the words of the princess are still fresh in my head, before time and events further mar the memory. I suppose I could have a memory orb treatment, but such objects are terrifyingly lacking in proper security. Any unicorn could get into them, really. I should first note that I took this assignment willingly, even eagerly. There are some things that are simply more important to a pony than proper surroundings, proper meals, and proper company. And for every pony, the foremost of those things is their special talent, as magically emblazoned on their flank by their cutie mark. Sadly, there are ponies whose only talent in life is to be a stuck-up boor, or a rock farmer, or something equally as awful as that. But I had the unique misfortune of having the cutie mark of an event that would never occur within my lifetime. The last centennial meteor shower occurred over Ponyville 10 years before I was even born. And the next is not scheduled to occur until decades after I am likely to have passed away.
Oh, that sucks.
So the ability to not only see, but actually touch that very thing my cutie mark represents, to hold it in my hooves, was just too overwhelming a gift to possibly turn away. Being a royal astronomer comes with many benefits, not the least of which is being within the same orbit as the princesses. I have been in the position to observe them in less than entirely formal company, and have even had occasion to speak to Princess Luna or Princess Celestia in years prior to their beckoning. As such, I believe I have constructed a far better assessment of the character of each of the princesses than most any pony other than perhaps their royal guard, each other, and some of the castle staff. For example, Princess Luna is the younger sister. She's also the smaller and the cuter sister.
Ah.
As a result of these traits, I have seen many ponies fall prey to the notion that she must also be the weaker and more innocent of the two. It is a misconception I have seen the princess herself play to on more than one occasion, usually with devastating precision. If anything can be said of the Night Princess, it is that she is certainly the darker of the two. In my personal estimation, ponies are often inclined to suspect Princess Celestia is capable of acts that our benevolent princess could never commit, and equally inclined to underestimate what Princess Luna is capable of. It was with these things in mind that many within the castle were fearful of what was to come after the zebras attempted to assassinate Princess Celestia. For days, Princess Luna locked herself away in her chambers, refusing meetings with every pony save her sister. On the 4th day, she called her cabinet to her, and the 6 mayors met with the princesses for most of that day and the 5th. After they left, I was summoned. To my surprise, Princess Luna was neither wrathful, nor cold, nor overcome with remorse. She was, if I had to put a word to it, contemplative. She invited me in, offered refreshment, and made sure I was comfortable, which I was, aside from being dreadfully nervous. And then she opened up to me, telling me things I do not believe she has likely shared with any other pony outside of her inner circle.
Well, tell
if
me.
only because it is a subject matter she chooses not to discuss.
Yeah.
I shall endeavor to transcribe the words of Her Majesty, Princess Luna, as best as I can recall. If you were to listen to the old pony tales, they would have you believe that the conflict between Celestia and myself happened over the course of an evening, which, after a fashion, I suppose it did.
Yeah.
But it was not a typical evening. The way it is told, one would think I threw a tantrum, or that my sister hurled me to a lunar prison at the climax of a breakfast squabble. Celestia did not choose to harness the most powerful magical energies in all of Equestria and turn them against me either lightly or swiftly. In my insanity, I gave her no other choice, and yet still she tried every other avenue to reason with me, nor was the attack unexpected and unprepared for. What the history books gloss over and the myths leave out entirely is that the morning I rebelled lasted longer than what would normally be considered a week. There are also those who mistakenly believe that because Celestia raised and lowered my moon for 1,000 years, that she is more powerful, and that her banishment of me was petty and unnecessary, as she could simply have taken the control of the moon and lowered the moon herself. That is not the case. She could only raise my moon in all those centuries because I was not there, as I would be able to raise her sun in her absence. When it comes to the night, I use an ancient term. My power trumps hers. I held my moon high and forced her sun to stay down for over a week's time, and she could do nothing about it. I cannot properly convey the sense of sorrow, bitterness, and remorse that hid behind Princess Luna's voice. Yet regardless of how much private pain this revisiting inflicted, the Night Princess persevered. By the end of it, Equestria had entered a deep winter. The freezing cold was killing plants and wildlife alike, and ponies everywhere were suffering and facing death from cold or starvation. I did not care. I was in a great rage, and I wanted to punish. My wrath did not just spill out onto our lands. Before the end, both the griffins and the zebras sent agents to assassinate me. But between my power and the protection of my armor, they stood no chance, and I laid them low. Celestia did what she had to, and even she could not break me of my madness. Even my sister was not powerful enough or pure enough of heart to save me. It took others to do that. There is a spark that is required to power the elements of harmony to their fullest, and it is hard to generate that spark if one is acting alone. Words cannot express the depth of emotion I felt at these revelations. The wonder and the horror of them was beyond expression. Princess Luna gave me time to digest these things and finally to dare ask why she had chosen to confide them in such a lowly pony as myself. To be honest, there was a part of me that feared for my life. Such secrets were not for the likes of mere astronomers, royal or otherwise. I wish you to understand the context that I suspect surrounds the task I must ask you to undertake, she told me. You must understand two things. First, that the conflict between Celestia and myself did not happen, dare I say it, overnight. I had planned, made preparations. I had anticipated that Celestia would use the elements against me eventually, and that others would try to stop me even sooner. So I had mystical armor fashioned for myself out of the rarest and most magically stalwart of all metals.
Cool.
What I did not foresee is that my sister would banish me. I had expected her to attempt to strike me down, and my defenses were designed around such an assumption. I had expected my sister to be as cruel as I had become, and thus I lost. With that, she produced a small plain lockbox. She used her levitation, floating the box at a distance as if loath to touch it. Setting the lockbox before me, she opened it with yet another spell.
Is it her
revealing a
armor
charred and
pieces?
twisted scrap of metal.
Yeah.
This is a piece of Nightmare Moon's armor.
Yeah!
She bade me to take it, examine it. The metal was light and cool to the touch, pale blue with an extraordinary sheen that put silver to shame. I asked her where in Equestria she had found such metal. The metal is not native to Equestria. In fact, it is not native to this world at all. Every 100 years, the skies of our world are graced with a meteor shower. There was one in the year Nightmare Moon was set free, and I was saved, on the longest day of the 1000th anniversary of my incarceration. I can see that you've done the math. It is worth noting that on rare occasions, perhaps once every dozen showers, not all of the meteors burn up in the sky. There have been impacts. During the meteor shower which occurred in the year I was banished, there was one such impact in the Everfree Forest, not far from the old castle. I believe the zebra's name for this is star metal, and they have considerably more myths about it than we do. I want you to go to Zebra Town. You may take this with you, and learn all that you can about these myths. The zebra's reaction to my position has been more extreme than we had anticipated. For the sake of all Equestria, I need to understand why.
Maybe you should have done that first. How's about that? God fucking dumb ponies. Okay, I'm going now. God, I'm really apathetic today.